recording. So it's been a while since I've done any reactions. It's been like a week and a half, maybe 2 weeks. And generally, I try to have like 3, 4 videos uploaded every week, just so that content. And so because it's been a while, I wanted to make sure like I did an extra one. So this is gonna be a little bit of a vlog recommendation kind of bullshit. Just because a few weeks ago, a buddy of mine was just like, "Hey, I got a friend with me. Is it cool if we stop at your pad, do like a little game night kind of thing?" And I was just like, "Yeah, that's cool. If it's a friend of yours, he's a friend of mine. Let's just hang out. I'm down. Whatever. I don't give a fuck. I just happen to have the day free." Hmm. And one of the things I do anytime I have people over, if we're just shooting the shit, if we're playing games or something, uh, I still have this iPod, and so I've got like 25,000 tracks on there, and again, I haven't uploaded anything to it in like years, so everything on there is very dated, and the guys were in their late 20s, maybe early 30s, and I'm 40, so like I'm an older man. So I remember when I played a couple different playlists while we were like hanging out, and I was trying to kind of gauge where like I don't know who this person is, so, like I don't know what they like. So I'm gonna start slow and generic, and depending on what his reaction is, I'm gonna play more heavier and heavier and more aggressive sounding stuff, like more of the stuff that I want to listen to. Because generally, if I'm a host, I want to be like, okay, I'm not going to subject you initially to what it is I like, because if it's just me, hmm, I might alienate this person who I've invited into my house. Uh, and I remember during the whole day while we were playing games, board games, and bullshit strategy games, I could see like the dude was getting into it. Like he was listening to like the guitar solos and stuff. So I was just like, all right, cool. I'm gonna go heavier. I'm gonna go heavier. No, the entire time it's just like, yeah, 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 yeah. Like you could see it. You could see it. So it's just like, all right, I know kind of what he likes. And at one point, I think one of my playlists, Chevelle came on. He was just like, yeah, is this Chevelle? I remember listening to this in middle school, and I was just like, I'm so old. Because obviously I'm at least like 10 years older than the other guys are. But like that kind of hit me. Hmm. And I was looking through just now because I was trying to think of ideas for another video because I didn't necessarily want to do a reaction. I thought, well, what's the last playlist I tried to put together? And like, what kind of sound was I going for? And what mood was I in when I was trying to like compile it? Because generally, like, my playlists aren't always just like, oh, heavy, heavy, heavy. It more has to do with like, all right, what's the next atmosphere I want to create? Generally, because you never know what situation you're gonna be in. Um, that's the thing I used to do when I was younger. Like if I met people, I would just be like, you know what? I think I know your vibe. I'm gonna make you a playlist. I'm gonna burn you a CD. And I did that for like a whole bunch of people. So like on the iPod, I think the last one is playlist 125. That was the one I was trying to build because I made a shit ton of playlists, and this is before like I had access to like Spotify or Pandora because again like mid to late 2000s that wasn't necessarily a thing, and I had so much music that I was just like going through shit and like actively trying to like piece together like narratives and stories and just be like, okay, you like this style? I think I know who you are. Let me express it and see what you think of it. Hmm. And every time I did that, the person who received the CD enjoyed it very much. I'm pretty spot on. But for the case of that specific playlist that I was trying to create, I think I only put 8 songs into it. So it never got completed. But for the sake of content and for the sake of spreading music awareness, like these aren't going to be necessarily things that you don't necessarily know, but you start off with something bullshit just to be like, yeah, I'm a new person, you don't know this. So there's a band called Nouvelle Vague, and they did a cover of Dead Kennedys, Too Drunk to Fuck. So, for the sake of spreading awareness and giving you guys something to listen to that you may or may not know of, click.
Non mais il dégueule pas vraiment.
Ah, si, si.
Went to a party. I danced all night. I drank 16 beers and started up a fight. But now I'm cheated. You're out of luck. I'm rolling down the stairs, too drunk to fuck. Too drunk to fuck. Too drunk to fuck. Too drunk to fuck. I'm too drunk, too drunk, too drunk to fuck. I like your stories. I like your gun. Shooting out cop tires sounds like loads and loads of fun. But in my room, wish you were dead. You roll like a baby in a razor head. Too drunk to fuck. Too drunk to fuck. Too drunk to fuck. I'm too drunk, too drunk, too drunk to fuck. Too drunk to fuck. Too drunk to fuck. I'm too drunk, too drunk, too drunk to fuck. Je suis trop bourrée pour buzzer.
It's funny hearing it in the French nouveau vogue kind of style, just because like when it's a punk song and it's a guy singing it, you're like, aha, yeah, I'm too drunk to fuck. You kind of laugh about it, but when it's a woman singing it, it's kind of takes on a darker tone. Ah, but it's very jazzy kind of sounding, and the thing that made me kind of think about this is that I recently caught up with couple of high school friends of mine. Hmm. We were both on the both all three of us were on the academic decathlon team on our high school. So I don't know if you can tell since I'm drinking, but I'm actually pretty smart. Tee hee. Um, we went to state. I had 10 medals. uh, but yeah, one of the things that came up is that one of the guys who was generally not like a medal guy, very kind of like basic, generic Korean dude. Part of the conversation was that he was wanting to take up drumming again because I guess in middle school he was on the drum line, and so he had a little bit of background in drumming, and he wanted to pick it up again. And in part of doing that, he was talking about like how he's really into like progressive music now and like progressive metal, and how he's all of a sudden now into Tool. It just made me laugh because I'm just like, it's one of my favorite bands and I've loved them for over 20, 25 years. And it's just like, oh yeah, yeah, it's cool. You just discovered them. That's awesome. So like immediately while he was saying that, and he was talking about music that he listens to, I was just like, okay, cool. Rolodex. Do you know who Steven Wilson is? Let me play you a Porcupine Tree song. Oh, you really like drumming and time signature changes? How heavy do you go? Because I can play you some Meshuggah. And like, it's funny because like, while we were having the conversation, I was literally sitting on a drum seat because I used to keep a drum set in my area here. So like, as he was telling me like, oh yeah, I want to get back into drumming, I'm thinking about buying an electric drum seat, I literally just did this and pulled out two drumsticks and gave them to him. To beat up drumsticks because they had been worked a lot. But like, it's funny. You come into my house, you see an amp. There are two guitars right here that you guys can't see, but and I'm on a drum seat. Like, there's a pedal board under this thing here, and like, you know, I'm a musician because I just finished talking to you about it. The guys from high school, and they know that about me. So it's funny to have them like be like, yeah, I'm 4'5", 4'4". You guys ever hear about Drumeo? And I'm just like, yeah. So it's funny, but that got me to thinking. Oh, I also like talked to him about like Devin Townsend, and literally grabbed into one of these shelves and grabbed the Blu-ray. That was a Devin Townsend live at the Ziltoid thing, live at the Royal Albert Hall, and just like handed it to him. And I was like, you probably like this guy. And it's funny when people discover something for the first time, they think no one knows anything about it, even though like the person you're talking to, me in this case, like I've been a musician and around music for like the majority of my life, more than half my life. It's funny. Where it's just like I'm just sitting there going like, okay, you're trying to catch up. Hmm. But it made me think of like my iPod and think like, okay, all the things you're talking about are so old to me. And so in that situation where I had a buddy of a buddy for a game night who's just like, oh yeah, all these songs are great. Reminds me of middle school. I was just like, oh, it's old to that person. So then that makes me think, what's even older? Something that I really like that people might not even necessarily be aware of. So let's go back to YouTube. And now we're going to go to The Cult. What? Happy Gilmore 2? Is there going to be a Happy Gilmore 2? That's going to suck. So I'm pausing this one right now just because I don't want this to get blocked. First one was like a 2-minute song, so like I doubt it'll get blocked. I also was like a French style kind of cover of a punk song, so like I doubt that one's gonna get copyright stricken. But The Cult, obviously very popular. What, 80s? Very rock and roll. Maybe 70s. I think 80s. It's funny to hear him say DMZ, demilitarized zone, and talk about New York City and say Hell's Kitchen, because Hell's Kitchen is like a rough part of New York. Very, very small area. But yeah, part of this is just like the specific playlist I was creating. I wanted it to have kind of an older kind of vibe to it. Obviously, Dead Kennedys, Too Drunk to Fuck, late 80s, early 90s punk. This, one could argue that it's kind of punk, but it's more rock and roll. But it's very specific of an era. So, like, yeah, it's interesting. Just because, like, a lot of what happens with music now is just you repeat motifs. So I think it's always best to approach a motif from how it originated. And obviously, like, this is like a copy of a copy of a copy of a copy. Like, The Cult. This is great. It's awesome. I love it. But it's repetitions of like other styles from before. So like you build and you build and you build when you create stuff. So like New York City. Also, this harkens back to a time where like styles of music was more regional. So like if you wanted to hear something like this, you'd have to go to like a New York or East Coast based band versus now it's just like everyone knows everything. It's just like anyone from anywhere can play this and feel it and mean it. Whereas before you had to live in the scene in order to kind of like understand what it means. I'm rhyming a lot lately. Go.
Disneyland trash can, baby, yeah, give you a heart attack. A Times Square circle, Manhattan flip, 24-hour groove. I'm working up frenzy, baby. People push us through. Yeah! Get some more.
Shit. I'm just kidding. I've been to New York before. Um, I went to Manhattan a couple years back to visit it wouldn't be fair to say an ex because she wasn't, but it feels like it. Let's get rid of Nova Vague. Let's get rid of the Colt before it pops up again. So, from the vibe of the bands I've put up, you might be able to kind of guess the kind of vibe I was trying to get in that playlist that I was creating that I never finished. And I'll probably never will. Unless I end up deciding like, oh, I'm going to continue. Because that's the thing with like AI and algorithms and bullshit. You no longer have to make shit by yourself. You can kind of rely on computers to like create shit for you, which sucks because they're only going to use a random sample, and it might be good, it might be bad, but you as a person who will make a mixtape or a playlist or whatever, you're always going to be better than like a computer who doesn't know what should go together. What are you trying to say? And like blah 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 and like bullshit. And that's part of the artistry of like music that's kind of lost. Burped again. Like part of that conversation I had with the dude who was just like, "Oh, I just discovered Tool. Have you heard Numa?" I was just like, "So you just went on YouTube? I get it." Like it's a great song, but like it's part of that whole like reaction videos. Oh, this such a great drumming track. Oh, but I've just heard of who Danny Carey is, but I'm completely oblivious to the fact that we're both in LA and he has a jazz band that plays shows in LA. And it's like you get to it when you get to it. People don't discover things at the inception. What happens is people put stuff out and it takes time for it to get discovered. If you have a record label or you have the machine behind you, then as soon as you put something out, everyone hears it because they know about it, because it's everywhere. But generally speaking, whenever an artist puts something out, no one really knows about it. And it's out there. And it stays out there for years and years and years. Like Ningen Isu. I discovered them after they'd been around for 30 years. 30 fucking years. So like, thank God they had an audience. They had a base of people who like actually like were pushing them forward and saying like, hey, we approve of them, and like, people, please listen to them. And they kept going and kept going and kept going, because then when I discovered them, I was just like, oh, cool. There's so much material, and I fucking love them. And I wish I was an older person so that I could have encountered them when they first came up. But that's the thing. Most people who produce stuff, if they're ever acknowledged or they're ever found, it'll be decades after they put out their material. So like overnight sensation. No. They've been around and tried and worked hard forever. And now you're encountering them, and maybe now they have a modicum of success. But that's only because like they kept going and kept trying and not failing, but like trying their hardest to know acclaim for a while, and just saying like, all right, cool, I'm not making any money, no one's liking this, or not enough people are liking it for me to be successful and to make money, but I believe in this, so I'm gonna keep going, and I'm gonna keep trying, and eventually, maybe after I'm dead, it'll make money. Having said that, the next one is The Cure, whom most people know. And they got that Happy Gilmore too. Kazu? Call her daddy? Why is that what's coming up? Call her daddy. Jesus Christ, YouTube. What the fuck is wrong with you? So The Cure. Everyone knows The Cure. They think of the very poppy, very familiar songs that are on like soundtracks to like movies and bullshit. But they have so many albums. Have you heard this song? Fascination Street. Baseline.
Oh, it's open time down on Fascination Street. So let's cut the conversation and get out for a bit. 'Cause I feel it all fading and paling, and I'm begging to drag you down with me to keep the last nailing. Yeah, I like you mad, like I like you to scream. If you open your mouth, I can't be responsible for quite what goes in, or to care what comes out. So just pull on your hair, just pull on your power, and let's move to the beat like we know that it's over. Sip going under, sip over my shoulder. So just pull on your face, just pull on your feel, and let's hit opening time down on Fascination Street.
I didn't want to pause it there, but I just noticed that it's been. I got so into the song that I was just like, oh shit, time has passed. I have to pause it at some point so this doesn't get blocked. The thing is, like, when most people think of The Cure, they're like love song or like other bullshit where it's just like the simple songs. And this has more detail, or detailing, I should say. So it's not as generic sounding. It's more like I have something to say, and here's the thing, and it's more, again, like emotive. And so it's great. I love it. So let's backtrack a little. Ooh, backtrack a little bit more. But yeah, like, such a great song. Go.
Pull on your face, pull on your fear, let it open.
It's funny, the name Fascination Street sounds very British to me. I don't know if that's right or not, but like it makes me think of like Neil Gaiman. He's one of my favorite like authors. He's very British, but it sounds like such a thing to say. So, Too Drunk to Fuck was very basic sounding. It's just like, too drunk to fuck. Too drunk to fuck. Too drunk. Too drunk. It's the same thing, kind of like repeated over and over, and it's like a 2-minute song. And this one here was like a 5-minute song. There's like a guitarist solo and like. So earlier when I said the nexus of what brought me into this video was that I had a conversation with a dude from high school who was just like, oh, I've just discovered this thing and blah, 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 blah. It just makes you think like how differently people think about art or when they encounter it or when it's convenient to say, oh, this thing that I always thought was bad and I ignored and that you've always loved and that I've denigrated you for loving. Now that I've encountered it, now I think it's good, kind of thing. It's just like art is different. Art is always a thing where like it doesn't matter if it's simple, it doesn't matter if it's difficult. It matters what the art says. And in that conversation, I was able to pull back and grab drumsticks and be like, oh, you like drumming? Here. I'm also on like a drum seat, so like you didn't notice that I pulled that up before you started talking about that. Ha 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 ha. Funny how that works, isn't it? But like how when people talk, they can try to make things about themselves important, whereas the person that's hearing it is just like, yeah, I already knew all those things. Here, let me grab behind me to show you examples because it's readily available. So, like, I'm talking about how something can be hard and difficult or simple. I have an art piece here that has such elaborate detail, and it's awesome. I love it. Look at this art piece. This beautiful art piece. There's not much detail in it. It's kind of simplified. A lot of silhouettes and shapes. Very extreme versions of art. One super detail oriented. One lots of open space. Negative space, some would say. And it's just like, yeah, art is very different. It depends on what you're trying to get across, what point you're trying to make. And there are different ways to express that. So it's just like, it doesn't matter how you say it or how you do it, as long as you say the thing that you want to say. Not everything is going to be expressed in the same way. And the people who encounter it aren't going to understand the expression in the same way. They're going to filter it through their own experience. So, goddamn, this is a long video. I didn't mean for it to be, but since content, yes, content. It's been like 2 weeks, so the crux of what I'm trying to say is that it's interesting to me that people don't understand that things exist and that different people will encounter those things at different points in their life, at different points in the life of the thing. So like Tool. Guy said he was just like, oh, I'm so into Numa, I'm really into Tool. Just within the past couple of years discovered it. Whereas like I've like been a Tool fan for like 25-ish years. It's just like, yeah. I'm glad you came around it and discovered it and like finally built the aptitude to be able to understand it. Whereas most people think of like art as just like, oh, you tried something? You don't have any fans? You're a failure. You suck. Stop doing what you're doing and get a normal job. And then 20, 25 years later, someone discovers it and like, oh, this is amazing. Let's see what else they have. Oh, nothing, because they stopped. Or like Ningen Isu, who I discovered 30 years into their discography. It's just like, oh, thank God they have so much material that I can now go through. If they had gone into the thought process of like, oh, we only have a certain number of fans, we're failures, we have to stop. And we're going to go and do something else and be like construction workers or whatever. It's just like, that's not what art is. That's not what artists are. You just have to keep creating. So even if you feel like you suck, even if you feel like you don't have a fan base, no. If you have something to say, say it. Do your thing. Live your life. It's going to be hard. Again, they say struggling artist for a reason. You're going to struggle. It sucks. It really sucks. But, it's about honesty. Say what you have to say. And it's easier to say what you have to say if you feel like no one's listening to you. It's just like, it doesn't matter what you say, because fuck it. It's like you're screaming into the abyss. It's funny how I went from playlist to all of a sudden like a fucking therapy session of maybe how I feel. Ha 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 ha.